told, people dread working with you. This person is insufferable already. What do socially skilled people do differently the second they walk into a room? Get involved with groups like D&D, LARPing. Oh God. Am I a guilt tripper? Ladies and gentlemen, whoever you are, wherever you are, sit down, relax. It's time for another... Can I get a fucking chair that is comfortable ever? My lower back hurts from banging the shit out of your mom. Folks, I know you're sitting down watching this maybe at lunch, and if you're doing so, you might lack a little something called social skills. And so that's why today we're going into the subreddit social skills to kind of go through things that I think you might relate to, such as this post, I ghosted everyone, now I'm 30 and alone. There's plenty more in here, so I'm sure there's something for you in this mix. We're just going to have fun today, and I hope to make you laugh. How many people make a YouTube video and try to level with you and say, hey, I hope you have a good day? None of them, because they don't fucking care if you have a good day. They just want your views and your money. Anyways, let's get into the first one. I ghosted everyone, now I'm 30 and alone. Buddy, that's just called being 30. It was my birthday recently and I turned 30. Throughout my 20s, I pretty much lost connection with everyone, including family who were toxic. After some therapy, I realized I had an avoidant attachment. What the fuck is avoidant attachment? Avoidant attachment is an insecure attachment style. Ooh, it's calling you a pussy. Characterized by a strong discomfort with emotions, a high need for independence, and a difficulty in forming close emotional connections with others. This is also known as being hit as a child. So if you've ever been smacked around, you probably operate in this way. This attachment style typically develops during childhood as a result of emotional rejection, neglect, or inconsistent caregiving, where the child learns to suppress their emotional needs to protect themselves from further pain and abandonment. If you want a more real example of this, it's something to the tune of, why the fuck are you crying? Stop fucking crying. Now let's have a nice dinner with your mom. What's up, gang? My tour break is almost over. It's going by very fast. I go back out on tour at the end of August. I'm starting in Tempe, Arizona. So if you're a beautiful Phoenician, if you're a wonderful person of Arizona, I want to see you there. You can buy a ticket for that now at noelmillerlive.com. Also, if you live in San Diego, Austin, San Francisco, I'm hitting the East Coast in September. Then Canada. Big shout out to Toronto. I think we're going to do 2 shows there. The first one is already gone, so we put up a second one. It's going to be massive. I'm excited to go back to where I was nutted. Guys, come see the #1 rated comedian by Lockheed Martin now. Buy a ticket, noelmillerlive.com. Right. Anyways, back to this guy. After some therapy, I realized I had an avoidant attachment, so I was pushing everyone away. I get panic attacks frequently as I keep imagining that I'll be in my 60s and still single and alone, never having experienced love. I'm terrified at the thought. I even quit my job working in customer service to become a cleaner just to get away from everyone. I've had many opportunities to get into a relationship, but again, I was passive-aggressive and gave them the silent treatment. Now, to this guy, if you happen to see this video, I want to say something right now. Ignoring people is a hot person move, fortunately. Ignoring people and not giving them the time of day, making them wonder how you feel about them, even being a little passive-aggressive, it's not a surprise to me that you've had opportunities to get in a relationship. Because everyone knows hot people or desired people, they kind of act like you're just disposable. They can get more of you. And that makes them that much more interesting. So if you want to find love, you can definitely attract it by continuing to ignore people, weirdly. My social skills are like non-existent at this point. I want to make connections again, and this time keep them instead of pushing everyone away. I want to find a romantic partner and not live a life of solitude anymore. I don't know where to begin. I'm thinking going back to a customer service job would help, but I'm getting panic attacks and it's becoming unbearable at the thought of being alone forever. And reading posts from men in their 60s and 80s who have never been in a relationship has made it much worse. I feel completely invisible to people, especially women. Now, if there's anyone you want advice from, it's a Redditor. Always. You know, what to do with your child, how to handle really deeply complex things. You always want a Redditor to give you the advice for that. 30 is actually pretty young in the grand scheme of things. Again, total lie. You're washed, you're chopped, you're chunk, you're dead by all definition. After 30, it's over. Sarcasm, guys. 30 is very young. I agree with this. If your family is toxic, then ghosting them is not a bad choice. I agree with this too, because if you find someone you love, you don't want to bring that toxic ass shit around that person. That's another. If I could take a tangent here and just give something to all of you, if you got toxic family, learn how to create boundaries, because when you find someone that you care about and they care about you, and if you start to build a life together, you don't want those people fucking up the vibe. I'm not saying cut your family off. I'm saying learn how to not pick up the phone. When it comes to connections, take small steps. Here's what worked for me. People connect over shared interests. Get involved with groups like D&D, LARPing. Oh, God. No, I'm just kidding. They didn't say that. LOL. Get involved with groups that like doing what you like doing. Start by focusing on the activity. Friends will follow and dates will come after that. Don't try to force it. I disagree. I think you should join, maybe a book club or something co-ed like Magic the Gathering. And make it clear from day one that your interest is to get laid. People tend to like that energy. When you join a social setting and you kind of lean into the first person you run into and you go, I'm trying to get my shit played with. That's the only reason why I'm here. Do you like this stuff? Do you actually like this stuff? That's crazy, man. Yeah, I'm just trying to get laid. Some of you may know I'm describing a run club. I've never been part of a run club. That's just what I hear. But allow me to continue. I was in the same spot as you not too long ago, and now none of that is a problem. Though when I was at that spot, I definitely thought I was helpless. Anxiety is insidious like that. One tip, stay away as far as possible. I'm just ad-libbing for this person from dating apps. They suck the most. 30 and alone is okay. Pushing people away is okay. If you've done that in your life, that's actually pretty normal for most people. If you have gone through a chaotic or troubling childhood or just troubling experiences when you're young, I think a tough aspect of life is trying not to hold people in your future against or compare them to or project onto them what you experienced previously. As you get older, it's increasingly harder to view people sometimes in good faith, because you may have had many situations where your trust was broken. You had situations where that make you feel jaded. I mean, the list goes on. It gets tougher to, especially at 30, when you've gone through a decent amount of life, it's hard to undo those projections. So if you think you relate to this, jokes aside, you can start there. I agree with this, start in small interactions, little social things with low risk. You might not agree with this, but I would say one way to do this is ranked first-person shooters. Short social interactions that expire within an hour. You don't have to get close, and you can start to build from there. Maybe you end up queuing with someone a few times, and they become a bromance for you, all right? And I say this from experience, all right? I've had many bromances over games, all right? I've got plenty of guys that have been in my life because of games. You can also, do other things. Obviously, it doesn't have to be games. There's a lot of local shit you can join. How can I exit this on a joke? And if you watch right now, what you're seeing in real time is a resistance to be vulnerable. I need to punch this with a joke because I'm opening up to you in a way, and I've been told that is gay. But I will resist. I will look you in the eyes as you gargle down your 10,000 noodle mukbang, and I will let you know that it's okay to be 30 and alone. It's okay to be 25 and alone, because you're going to get out. You're going to chip away at it. You're going to find your people, and I have faith in you. But for now, we have more people to bully, so let's do it together. About life as mid-20s. Hey there, how's life going? It's nice to read that. No one talks to you like that. Especially if you're a dude watching this, I know that you have plenty of friends that would never, ever speak to you this way. It's interesting, the further your friendships go with men, the more they want to see you suffer. They delight in your suffering. They say, hey man, it's tough right now? You go, yeah, I got the this. And they say, good, because I'm going out on Sunday, and if you can't make it, you're going to have severe FOMO, and I hope you watch every minute of it, and you feel like you fucked up by not being there. I love you, man. I hope all is well. Hey there, how's life going? It's good, thanks for asking, dude. I'm 24 here, graduated 10 months ago, and currently working as a nurse and thinking about going abroad for work. I'm an introvert here, though I do not have a partner. What the f*** does that mean? I'm an introvert? I'm an introvert? What the fuck? I am an introvert here. He's a skater. Though I do not have a partner. I don't know why you emphasize not. That sentence doesn't really connect. Anyway. And my parents are a bit cultural to not send me abroad alone. And I'm going with my bestie and her partner. Kind of situation here to handle myself now. Being introvert is too much to interact with people of my age. How do I socialize? That's not me not being able to read. That's the actual sentence. How do I socialize myself to achieve my goal? You're introverted. I would suggest start by going in public and staring at people, particularly if they're trying on clothes in a store. Sit in front of the changing booth, then just stare at the door so when they open, they see you there. Hello? I would actually recommend, I know I lean into this a lot, but I'm serious. I would actually recommend Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, or pool. All of those things, you can interact with people without having to make eye contact with them. With pool, you can seem confident and social by just looking at the arrangement of the balls on the table. You can kind of look up to the ceiling and pontificate about your shot, how you play. You can have the occasional look over, but then you can initiate conversation and have conversation. I'm Sean Connery. You can have conversation by just looking at the table. And I don't even think that's a good accent of his. I don't even know if any of you know who Sean Connery is. Surprise, that guy's dead. You can just stare at the table and just generally talk about things without really having to look at the person you're playing against. Again, Magic the Gathering is good too because those guys just like to talk. You can practice talking by reading the rules, all right? And you can have a conversation looking down. You don't really have to interact with anyone to play the game. And actually, I said Warhammer, I take that back. I would actually say a third and viable option to kind of break out of being an introvert is just being a munch. And I know that's a term we don't really use anymore, but I'm going to bring it back. Just be a munch. You could be an introverted munch. You can be very good at what you do, provided, you're good looking. It doesn't require the other person give you anything back because they're just receiving. And you don't have to make eye contact. And speaking softly is invited, Hey, are you enjoying your services? I just want to check in if you're enjoying everything. Okay, that's great. Thanks, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, lots of practice. I'm going to get back to it now. Honestly, this is a general guide for everyone who's an introvert. You don't have to make eye contact for a lot of things, and I think that is the first thing about conversation that is intimidating. You can get by in a lot of social contexts without ever having to look at anyone, and they won't notice. Go to a sporting event. Talk shit about the game with the people next to you. Never look at them. Just look at the field. Kind of give your opinion. An aquarium? You can just kind of float around the exhibits. A zoo as well. You can kind of just lean in and comment, Imagine if a kid fell in this cage. You can start to warm it up with a little side eye. And obviously, I think the pinnacle of practicing your social skills is driving Uber. There's nothing the modern person loves any more than getting into your car that you have volunteered as a taxi and being subject to conversation. Everybody loves that. What do socially skilled people do differently the second they walk into a room? I know this one off the top of my head. Typically, they just walk in with a machete and just start moving around the room going, "Who wants to be my best friend? Who wants to be my best friend?" That's what socially skilled people do. There's something about the way certain people carry themselves when they enter a room. It's not loud or attention-seeking, it's subtle. They don't even have to say much. Somehow people notice them without them trying. They seem to know where to stand or how to move or who to greet first. They're reading the room while most people are still figuring out where to sit. It's not just confidence, it's something else, like an unspoken awareness of social dynamics. The way they make eye contact without staring, how they join a conversation without hijacking it, or how they know when not to talk. Even their silences feel intentional. It's easy to assume they were born with it, but is it that really true? What are the actual habits or mindsets that separate the socially fluent from the rest, and how much of it is learnable? I would say yes, most well-adapted and socially successful people walk into a room and analyze everyone. They stand there and they read everyone up and down, and they take note of everything: their hair, their clothing, the way they're acting, their body language. They memorize all that, and then they zone in on the person that they want to kill. You know, this person, and maybe you relate to this, like you feel like you're not socially sharp, you feel maybe you're a little bit off-putting, you do things weird. I would say the best thing you can do is, if you're anxious about going into a social situation, is to look at everyone and try to analyze them in the corner of the room. I think the best thing for everyone is if they catch you looking at everyone in the room while you're not saying anything, trying to figure out your perfect formula to be social in that setting. I think that'll make everyone very comfortable. That said, I do think it's worth reading this top comment. Well, I learned my social skills by being a semi-vagrant teenage couch surfer, i.e. having to hone the skill of people wanting me to be around when I had nothing but my company to offer. Wow. You know, I've never thought about this. And this, guys, out of all the alpha male advice that we've seen, out of all the hours and hours of Instagram reels telling you what it takes to be a magnetizing person, I never thought that being unemployed in someone else's home would teach you to be the most charismatic person possible. You got to be charming. You got to be interesting. You got to be a vibe. You got to be fun to hang out with. You got to make people who go to work look forward to coming home, because then they get to see you. That's a very challenging audience. A one-on-one audience where the audience wants you to get the fuck out of their house. How can you fleece them into wanting you to be around? Genius. In the context of stepping into a meeting or an unfamiliar social environment, I step into the room and pretty much look at everyone briefly. It's almost like a micro-engagement, a little acknowledgement of everyone so they feel like I've noticed them. And now we've established a rapport of eye contact, which makes them jump to conversation much easier. For my shy younger person employees who felt cowed by rich people, very smart or successful people, or celebrities, I've always said this: you are equal to every single person who steps in here, and a lot of the time, you're better. Yes, it's good to think a lot of the time that you're better than the people in the room. That actually helps when you're doing your little micro engagement, if you're following this guide, to just be like, it's me. I'm the guy. If you personally feel like you struggle to be social, or you get overwhelmed by social interactions, you don't have to worry, because no one's social anymore. The phone has destroyed that. So now is a great time to actually learn how to be social, because you will stand out more than ever. It's like reading. No one can read anymore. If you read a little bit, you know so much more, because the average person has read 0 books. And they may have read them in high school, but they didn't retain any of it. So they've read functionally 0 books. If you read 1 book, you can just know that book, and you're a step ahead of everyone you meet. So if you just even get a little socially comfortable in an age where most people don't look each other in the eye, you know, I mean, you've seen the Gen Z stare, the lead paint stare as they describe it. If you get good at overcoming that, I mean, you're ripe for politics. You could be the president of a company. There's so many places you could take yourself in life just by being a little bit social. So take it upon yourself to get ahead now. It's never been easier to be the most social person in a room, I promise you. This next one I feel is very relatable to a lot of people. Am I a guilt tripper? Not that part specifically, but let's go further. So me and my girl were just goofing off, having fun. And I said something that sounded mean, but I didn't mean it in a rude way. And she was being funny, acting like she took it serious, but she knew I didn't mean it that way. But every time this sort of thing happens, I feel the need to explain myself so she doesn't think I actually meant it in a rude way. And so we talked about it, and she mentioned I'm good at making her feel bad, and I instantly felt hurt by it, but I gave it some thought, and I realized she's right. I don't know where else to post this, but I'm hoping someone can give me some advice on how to stop making her feel bad when we're just trying to have fun. This, my friend, is called Riz. Let's move on. It's not funny. I don't know why that's funny. Ooh, this is a good crescendo right here. Told people dread working with you. Now, respectfully, some of us watching right now may need to hear this, or you may have a coworker that does need to hear this, and you can send them this video as like a haha. Did you find that part interesting? Did you get anything from that part? Just a question. I don't have a clue how to handle this. I want to think they're British. I don't have a clue how to handle this. Got told by my manager that several people have said they dread working with me because I micromanage, interfere, and am too direct. Oh, they probably are British. For context, I'm in a minor leadership role, think team leader. I'm not in a separate office. I'm right there with the team, continually providing supervision, advice, and guidance. On a shift, I, and sometimes one or two other seniors, hold overall responsibility for colleagues' actions or omissions, and if things go wrong, the consequences could be quite serious. My manager said he would go into more detail at a future date, so right now I'm just trying to figure out how I can ease off, take a step back enough to stop people feeling micromanaged, whilst also being alert and involved enough to be aware. This is all right. I'll stop with the bad accent. My manager said he will go into more detail at a future date. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out how I can ease off, take a step back enough to stop people feeling micromanaged, whilst also being alert and involved enough to be available when colleagues need me and accountable for the overall work. Okay. This person is insufferable already just because of the way they describe this situation, which is probably why they're good at their job. Unfortunately, I think a corporation loves a person like... A corporation loves to see you coming. Man, upper management loves to see a guy like you coming, because look how about the rules he is, socially. Look how much he's holding himself to social contracts. It feels that way even as this person is describing the situation. I said he, I have no clue who this person is. It's going to be really difficult for someone like me who thinks in black and white, but I can probably make some degrees of progress. What's harder is the knowledge that several people dread coming to work when they know I'm on shift. I feel so guilty and ashamed that I made people feel that way without realizing. My manager has to preserve their confidentiality, of course, so I can't ever know who they are. This just means I'll be constantly wondering, is it you who dreads working with me? Am I doing better today so you won't dread working with me quite as much tomorrow? Honestly, it's just really painful and humiliating, as well as making me feel like a terrible person. I knew I wasn't popular among my colleagues. I'm not one of the clique who go out together, etc. But I thought I had a fairly positive, supportive, trusting, respectful relationship with most people. And the job I do, communication and trust, and mutual support are so important. To know that people were and are doing their best to feign that whilst intensely disliking me and wishing they didn't have to put up with me is very upsetting. I see why as a society we've chosen to be dumber, because talking like this is a little exhausting. If you're one of those people who dreads working with me because I'm so overbearing and over-involved, but you have to come to me for advice and support many times a day, and and you also know it's kind of my job to be aware of what you're doing at any given time, what would you want and need to see from me to make your working day more bearable? As much as we're having fun here, I do believe that all of these apply a lot in life. And I think this, not everyone maybe is in some like upper management role. But I do think in life, it's very common to get wrapped up in what you're doing. And sometimes you get intense about what you're doing, that becomes your goal. And then you start forgetting the people in the room with you when you're doing that job. Again, I think working, especially in a corporate environment, it's designed to dehumanize the people around you a little bit so you can just do your job relentlessly 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I think they want that from you. I digress. If there is anything to take from this, I do think it's worth everyone's time at moments to see if you're too wrapped up in the shit that you do in your daily life, and take a second to think, has that taken over you, and are you in fact affecting the people around you? Feels ridiculous, feels cheesy, and honestly maybe this is a really deep thing to end a video on, but I do think this is Very, very relatable in life to become just intense about tasks and forgetting about those around you. I think we all know someone who's guilty of this, especially if you were punched around as a child. You know, your dad was stressed about work. He's thinking about bills. He's forgetting that when he's smacking you around, that hurts you. You know, when he's taking out whatever write-up he received at work out on you because you got a D on your math homework. He didn't mean that. Okay? He didn't mean it like that when he smacked you around. He loved you. He just got caught up in his work. If there's anything to take away from this story, guys, it is don't let life get you caught up so much so that you start impacting those close to you. Download Rainbow Six and affect those far away from you. Start yelling at strangers through games. Okay? Guys, I hope you enjoyed our discourse today on social skills. I'll see you very soon with another video in which we will scare the hoes. Take it easy. Bye-bye.